Talks Like Ted, Part 1, continued. What makes your heart sing? Recently, I have started to change the first question I ask of my executive clients who want to become better communicators. In his last major public presentation, Steve Jobs said, "It's the intersection of technology and liberal arts that makes our hearts sing." So, today I have replaced "What are you passionate about?" with "What makes your heart sing?" The answer to the second question is even more profound and exciting than the former. For example, I worked with a client in the agribusiness community of California. He headed an association of strawberry growers, an important crop for the state. Here's how he answered my questions. Question 1. What do you do? I am the CEO of the California Strawberry Commission. Question 2. What are you passionate about? I am passionate about promoting California strawberries. Question 3. Is it about the industry that makes your heart sing? The American dream. My parents were immigrants and worked in the fields. Eventually, they were able to buy an acre of land and it grew from there. With strawberries, you don't need a lot of land and you don't need to own it. You can lease it. It's a stepping stone to the American dream. I'm sure you'll all agree that the answer to the third question is much more interesting than the first two. What makes your heart sing? Identify it and share it with others. TED notes. What makes your heart sing? Ask yourself, what makes my heart sing? Your passion is not a passing interest or even a hobby. A passion is something that is intensely meaningful and core to your identity. Once you identify what your passion is, can you say it influences your daily activities? Can you incorporate it into you do professionally? Your true passion should be the subject of your communications and will serve to truly inspire your audience. The happiest man in the world. Matthew Richest, Ma- Matthew Ricard is the happiest man in the world and he is not happy about it. In 2004, Matthew Ricard temporarily left the Shenzhen monastery in Kathmandu to teach a TED audience in Monterey, California, the habits of happiness. According to Ricard, happiness is a deep sense of serenity and fulfillment. Ricard should know he is not just pleased with his life, he is really, really happy. Scientifically, he is off the charts happy. Ricard volunteered for a study at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Research scientists placed 256 tiny electrodes on Ricard's scalp to measure his brain waves. The study was conducted on hundreds of people who practiced meditation. They were rated on a happiness scale. Ricard didn't just score above average. The researchers couldn't find anything like it in the neuroscience literature. The brain scan showed excessive activity in his left brain's left prefrontal cortex compared to its right counterpart, giving him an abnormally large capacity for happiness and a reduced propensity towards negativity. Ricard isn't all that happy about being labeled the happiest man in the world. In truth, in truth, anyone can find happiness if he or she looks for it in the right place, he said. Authentic happiness can only come from the long-term cultivation of wisdom, altruism, and compassion, and from the complete eradication of mental toxins such as hatred, grasping, and ignorance. Ricard's presentation, The Habits of Happiness, attracted more than 2 million views on TED.com. I believe Ricard's presentation was well received because Ricard radiates the joy of someone who is deeply committed to his topic. Indeed, Ricard told me, these ideas are dear to me not only because they brought me a lot of fulfillment, but because I am convinced that they can bring some good to society. I am particularly passionate to show that altruism and compassion are not luxuries, but essential needs to answer the challenges of our modern world. So, whenever I am asked to join a conference, I am glad to do so and be able to share my ideas. Successful speakers can't wait to share their ideas. They have charisma, and charisma is directly associated with how much passion the speaker has for his or her content. Charismatic speakers radiate joy and passion. The joy of sharing their experience and passion for how their ideas, products, or services will benefit their audiences. I believe that the best way to communicate with anyone is to first check the quality of your motivation. Is my motivation selfish or altruistic? Is my benevolence aimed at just a few or at the great number for their short term or their long term good? Once we have a clear motivation, then communication flows easily, says Ricard. Amazingly, if your motivation is to share your passion with your audience, it's likely that you will feel less nervous about speaking in public or delivering that all important presentation in front of your boss. I asked Rickard how he remains calm and relaxed in front of large audiences. Rickard believes that anyone can talk him or herself into feeling joy, bliss, and happiness when they choose to do so. It all comes down to your motivation. If your only goal is to make a sale or to elevate your stature, you might fail to connect with your audience and you'll place a lot of pressure on yourself. If, however, your goal is more altruistic, giving your audience information to help them live better lives, you'll make a deeper connection and feel more comfortable in your role. I'm very happy to share ideas, but as an individual, I have nothing to lose or to gain, said Ricard. I don't care about my image, I have no business deal to cut, and I am not trying to impress anyone. I am just full of joy to be able to say a few words about the fact that we vastly underestimate the power of transforming the mind. Why you will fail to have a great career. If you're not happy and passionate about the work you do, you might fail to have a great career. And if you're not having a great time at a great career, it will be harder for you to generate enthusiasm through your presentations. That's why career happiness and the ability to inspire people are connected. The topic of career success consumes University of Waterloo economics professor Larry Smith. Smith is frustrated with today's college students. He is upset because most college students will pursue specific careers for the wrong reasons money, status, etc. According to Smith, those students will have failed to have great careers. The only way to have a great career, says Smith, is to do what you love. Smith channeled his frustration into an inspiring, passionate, and humorous TEDx lecture, Why You Will Fail to Have a Great Career. I spoke to Smith about the popularity of his TED presentation, which at the time of our discussion had been seen more than 2 million times. The reaction surprised him. Smith agreed to do the talk at the request of his students. Since his classes are usually 3 hours long, he took it as a personal challenge to distill his ideas into 18 minutes. It was a hugely popular because the audience sees a speaker with unbridled passion and a sense of urgency that makes his lecture riveting. Smith's presentation was essentially 30 years of pent-up frustration reaching a boiling point. Wasted talent is a waste I cannot stand, Smith told me. My students want to create technology. I want them to create really kick-ass technology. I want them to be passionate about what they are doing. Smith's premise is simple. There are plenty of bad jobs, he says. Those high-stress, blood-sucking, soul-destroying jobs. Then there are great jobs, but very little in between. Smith says most people will fail to land a great job or enjoy a great career because they are afraid to follow their passion. No matter how many people tell you that if you want a great career, pursue your passion, pursue your dreams, you will decide not to do it. Excuses, he says, are holding people back. His advice find and use your passion and you'll have a great career. Don't do it and you won't. Smith was one of the most inspiring TED presenters I have met, though I have to admit that I may be a little biased. I have been preaching the same gospel since the day I changed my plan to go to law school and pursued a career in journalism instead. At first, I didn't earn nearly as much as I would have in the legal profession, and I certainly had some doubts about my chosen career path. Following your passion takes courage, especially if you don't see the results as quickly as you would like. My life is vastly different today than it was in those early years, and I enjoy sharing my ideas with audiences around the world. Best of all, I don't feel as though I work. Writing these words, watching these presentations, studying the science behind them, interviewing famous speakers, and sharing their thoughts with you is a joyful experience for me. Above all, I have learned that those who are joyful about their work often make the best public speakers. You have got to follow your passion. You have got to figure out what it is you love, who you really are, and have the courage to do that. I believe that the only courage anybody ever needs is the courage to follow your own dreams. Oprah Winfrey. In his TEDx lecture, Smith cited Steve Jobs' famous commencement speech at Stanford University in 2005 when Jobs encouraged the students to pursue the path they really love. Your work is going to fill la- your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you will know when you find it. And like any great relationship, It just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking until you find it. Don't settle. Smith agrees with Jobs but believes the advice often falls on deaf ears. It doesn't matter how many times you download Stephen Jay's Stanford commencement address, you still look at it and decide not to do it. Smith told the audience, TED audience. You are afraid to pursue your passion. You are afraid to look ridiculous. You are afraid to try. You are afraid you may fail. After spending a quarter century in journalism, writing, speaking, and communications, I can tell you without hesitation that the most inspiring presentations are delivered by people such as Larry Smith, Amy Mullins, and most of other speakers you will meet in the chapters that follow. They share a deep well of experience and passionate commitment to sharing their ideas to help others succeed. TED note. Accept happiness as a choice. What is one challenge you have been faced with recently? After identifying your challenge, list three reasons why this challenge is an opportunity. You see, happiness is a choice, an attitude that is contagious, and your state of mind will positively affect the way your listeners perceive you. Matthew Ricard told me, our natural state of mind, when it is not misconstrued under the power of negative thoughts, is perfection. It is essential to inspire hope and confidence since it is what we lack most and need most in our times.